Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Meydan Racecourse here on Saturday. It is the 4th of March 2023. It's Super Saturday for Meydan, and I'm going to look at all the group stakes races. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And remember to go check out my Fountain of Youth preview from Gulfstream and also my Gotham preview from Aqueduct. Some great races all across the world today. But let's start it with Super Saturday for Meydan, local prep races for the World Cup coming up in about 3 weeks' time. So let's get to these races. We'll be looking at races 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 9. We're going to skip over that handicap. The second race from Meydan, it is the Dubai City of Gold Stakes. It's a Group 2 event going for a $250,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 14 horses going 2,400 meters or a mile and 1/2 on the turf course. I'm going to take as a top selection here the 9-horse Rebels Romance. Let's go 965 in your TriCash trifecta. 965 TriCash trifecta, top selection 9-horse Rebels Romance. This 5-year-old gelding by DeBowie. Charlie Appy trains. William Buick gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 5th of November at Keeneland, a 1.5 miles in the Breeze Cup turf. Guess what? It was a victory for this horse, winning by 2 1/4 lengths. He sat back early, a little bit wide, but James Doyle really rode the race terrifically. He quickened up nicely in the final stages and went away with it. A very good run, beating the good stablemate that day. Refreshing here to Meydan to the turf for the first time locally shouldn't be a problem. I think he should get a good trip, and I think he can win. Two back, he ran at in Cologne in Germany, a 1.5 miles in the Group 1 Prix von Europa, and he won by 3/4 length that day, and he sat back early. He really closed up well late, and he got the job going away. A very good race for him after all said and done. And then the Prix von Berlin and Hoppergarten over the 1.5 miles on good ground. He won by neck. He's the kind of horse, he doesn't have a lot of forwardly pace, but he really closed up in the final stages, getting the job done. It was a very good Group 1 victory for him there, for his first Group 1 victory. Prior to that, he ran in the Group 3 Glorious Stakes at Goodwood, a 1.5 miles in July, where he won by length that day. And, he was a little closer than he normally was, but when he got the turn of foot, he went away with it. Second off the bench, it was still a good race, and then seasonal reappearance in the Fred Archer at Newmarket in that listed stakes. He went away with it even after a horrible beginning, drifting late. He still got the job done. Refreshing here, should get a good trip to close with. At 3 to 5, I'm going to use him. So to recap my selection, hopefully I don't throw up here. Pardon me, I just chugged this water right before I went on this talking here, so pardon me, the bubbles are coming up. But to recap my selection for the second from Meydan, it is the Dubai City of Gold Stakes. Let's take as a top selection here the number 9-horse Rebels Romance. We'll go 965 in your TriCash trifecta. Let's get to the third race from Meydan now, which is a local prep race for the Godolphin Mile. The third race, it's the Group 3 Burj Nahar Stakes. It's going for a $250,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 16 horses are contesting 1,600 meters or a mile on the dirt course. I love the 14-horse Secret Ambition in the spot. Let's go 14, 13, 6 in your TriCash trifecta. 14, 13, 6 TriCash trifecta. Top selection 14-horse Secret Ambition. 10-year-old horse by Exceed and Excel. Bupat Shamir trains. Tango Shea gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came 11th of February at Jebel Ali. 1 mile in the Group 3 Jebel Ali Mile. And he finished second by 2 1/4 lengths that day. He just kind of stalked. Going up the final furlong, he just had to be used a little bit too much, and he just couldn't get there. That final 2 furlongs basically at Jebel Ali, you're going uphill in a steep hill. You either handle it or don't. The winner, Fanar, just had the jump on him. But this horse, he was gaining decently. But I thought it was a good, confident, and stamina builder. Refreshing here to a more level playing field. I think the old man could get the job done and win. His seasonal reappearance came 6th of January here, Meydan on opening night. 1 mile in the Maktoum Challenge round 1. And he finished 4th by 9 3/4 lengths that day. He stalked, but never quickened up, never weakened out of it either. He just needs something more there. And then last year's Godolphin Mile, he finished 11th by 17 1/4 lengths. Quick turnaround from the race prior, which was the Saudi Cup. He just was a very tired horse as the season went on last year. He hasn't won since the Godolphin Mile of 2021, which he won by open lengths, winning by 6 lengths on the front and almost all throughout. He really put on a show there. I like him back to the one-turn mile. Like him back to the dirt, to Meydan again. At 3 to 1, I'm going to use him on the ticket. If there could be a small upsetter, it could be the 3-horse Royal Muse for William Buick. Most recently, the Jebel Ali Port here at Meydan, 7 furlongs on the dirt. He finished second second by half a length, and he just couldn't catch up late, but he ran his heart out there, and then he won the Aziz Mania handicap here at Meydan over the mile, winning by a nose. Again, he had to be used a lot, but he got the job done. You know, his hidden form could definitely win against these horses. I'm going to use him on the ticket. So to recap my selection for the third from Meydan, it's the Group 3 Burj Nahar. Let's take the 14-horse Secret Ambition. Give kudos to the 13-horse Royal Muse. 14-13-6 Tri-Cash Trifecta. Used 14-13 in your multi-race. The fourth race now from Meydan. It is the Group 3 Nadelsheiber Turf Sprint. It's a Group 3 event going for a $250,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 15 horses dashing 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the turf course. I'm going to take here the number 8 horse, Kadim. Let's go 8-3-6 in your Tri-Cash Trifecta. 8-3-6 Tri-Cash Trifecta, top selection 8 horse Kadim. 7-year-old Gelding by Dark Angel. Charlie Hills trains this one. David Egan gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 10th of February at Meydan. 5 furlongs in the Group 2 Blue Point Sprint, and he finished 6 by 3 lengths that day, and he just never really got going for the back of the pack. You know, he needed something more. It wasn't his day to win, just a little lackadaisical. Prior to that, in the Dubai Dash here at Meydan, 5 furlongs, 6th of January, he finished 13th by 11 3/4 lengths. He was more into it early on, but then he just kind of hit the wall late. You know, he couldn't keep up there off the bench. And then the Group 1 Haydock Sprint Cup at Haydock, 6 furlongs, very fast ground for Haydock in early September. He finished 9th by 10 lengths that day. A very troubled trip early on. He moved a little bit late, but it wasn't anything spectacular there. He hasn't won since the King George Qatar Stakes at Goodwood over the 5, where he won by a neck, and he sat back early. He slowly moved his way up, and he got the job done. Since putting the blinkers on in the Palace House Stakes last year, which he won at Newmarket, he's really become a different horse, and it really helped him win there at Newmarket and then at Goodwood. I thought at the end of the season, just his form kind of touched back a little bit. You know, he might have needed the last 2 races. Coming here today, I think his hidden form could definitely win against these horses. At 12-1, I'm going to use him. I think your second likeliest winner here is the number 3 horse, who is City Walk. Daniel Thudhop's on this one first. He's been soaring Godolphin. Most recently, in a handicap here at Meydan over the 6, he won by a neck that day, and he was with them early on. He really quickened up, and he got the job done. Even with the high weight, it was a very good race there. Prior to the Dubai Sprint here at Meydan over the 6, he finished 5th by 1 3/4 lengths, and he just kind of stalked. The winner outgamed him that day, but off the bench, I thought he ran decently. And then the Dubai Dash here at Meydan, 5 furlongs on 6th of January. He finished 11th by 10 3/4 lengths that day, and he just really had nothing there. He definitely needed the race off the bench, but some of his races in the UK could definitely win against these horses. At 7-1, I'll use him in the multi-race. But to recap my selection for the 4th from Meydan, it's the Nadelsheiber Turf Sprint. Let's take the 8 horse here, Kadim, as a top selection. Give kudos to the 3 horse City Walk. 8-3-6 Tri-Cash Trifecta. We'll use them both in the multi-race. The 5th race now from Meydan, it's the Albastica Stakes. It's going for a $170,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 12 horses going 1,900 meters or mile 3/16 in this UAE Derby prep race. I'm going to take here the number 4 horse, the 4 horse Lariche, as a top selection. Let's go 4-3-2 in your Tri-Cash Trifecta. 4-3-2 Tri-Cash Trifecta, top selection of 4 horse Lariche. 3-year-old colt by Efraj here. Antonio Fraju gets the mounts. The horse's most recent outing came in a conditions race here in Meydan, 27th of January, mile 3/16 in the mud, and he won by 4.5 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked all the way around on the slop. When he got to the front end around the far turn, he quickened up, and he went away with it. A very good race. Refreshing here, back to 2 turns. Gonna have to overcome a little bit of wide posture, but I think he get the speed to win here. 2 back, he ran a maiden race here at Meydan, 1 mile on the 23rd of December. And he finished 2nd by 1 1/4 lengths that day, and he just kind of stalked. He kind of hit the wall late. You know, I do think the 1-turn mile was just a little bit too fast for him there. And then a Jebel Ali on his debut in early December, 7 furlongs in the main race. He finished 3rd by 9 lengths that day, and he just, again, never quickened up. The 2 in front of him were really, better horses. But I think with every single race, he's definitely been on the improve. I'm going to give him a shot on the ticket here. I think the 3 horse Gold Soldier Gold could definitely win here. And a conditions race here on the 5th of February with the mile 3/16, he won by 5.5 lengths, and with a quick turnaround of the week from the previous race, he kept going for the back of the pack. A very good race there. Prior to that, in the Festival City Stakes here at Meydan on the slop, he really closed up well behind La Breach, just missing him that day. Another horse who's kind of versatile, could sit a little close if he wants to. I'll give him a shot also at 7-1 in this race. But to recap my selection for the 5th from Meydan, it's the Albastica Stakes. So let's take the 4 horse Lariche, give kudos to the 3 horse Gold Soldier Gold. 4-3-2 Tri-Cash Trifecta, 3.43 in your multi-race. The sixth event now from Meydan. It is the local prep race for the World Cup. The sixth race, it is the Al Maktoum Challenge, round 3. It's a grade 1 event, or group 1 event, going for a $450,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds here. We have a field of 14 horses going 2,000 meters or a mile and a quarter on the Meydan Dirt course. I'm going to take as a top selection here the number 3 horse, the 3 horse who is Bendug. I'm going to go 3-13-8 in your TriCast trifecta. 3-13-8 TriCast trifecta. Top selection of 3 horse Bendug. This 4-year-old colt by Gunrunner. Bhupat Shamir trains. James Doyle gets the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the Maktoum Challenge round 1 here at Meydan, a mile and a quarter on the 3rd of February, and he finished second by 6 lengths that day. He was with them early on. Algiers just had the jump on him late and really quickened up. This horse was just second best there. First, back to Meydan. Prior to that, in the Thunder Snow Challenge at Meydan, a mile and a quarter in that conditions race, 13th of January, he finished third by 1.25 lengths that day. And again, he just kind of, stalked that day. He never weakened out of it, but he still needs something more late. He definitely ran a decent race there. And then right before Christmas, they made on a mile and a quarter in the listed stakes. He finished second by a length that day. And again, he was on the lead that day. He got overtaken in the final stages of the race, but he ran his heart out there. And then in the conditions race at Meydan over the mile back in early December, winning by 1.5 lengths, he got the job done, even not being 100% cranked that day. He's back to the mile and a quarter. He's drawn well, has some farther pace, which is good on this track. I'm going to give him a shot here. I think the 13 horse here, who's Salute the Soldiers, your second Lake Lease winner, Andre de Veers, gets the mount on this German bred. Most recently in the Maktoum Challenge round 2 over the mile 3/16. He finished 5th by 11.25 lengths that day, and he just was a little bit too far back that day. He sat closer in the Thunder Snow Challenge at Meydan where he rode it on the front end, but he needs to get a good break, and he needs to get closer to the front end. He won this race 2 seasons ago very, very nicely. His 2021 form was quite impressive. Last year his form kind of fell off hill a lot, but earlier this year when he won the Thunder Snow Challenge, he really became a different horse and showed some hidden form back with him. I'm going to give him a shot here on the ticket. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets first on the line. Definitely using your multi or quad pot here. But to recount my selection for the 6 from Meydan, it's the Maktoum Challenge round 3. We're going to take the 3 horse Bendug as a top selection. Give kudos to the 13 horse Salute the Soldier. 3-13-8 TriCast trifecta. 3-13 in your multi-race. The 8th event now from Meydan, local prep race for the Dubai Duty Free or the Dubai Turf. The 8th race, it is the Group 1 Jebel Hatta Stakes from Meydan. It's going for a $350,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 15 horses are going 1,800 meters or a mile and an eighth on the turf course. Gonna take as a top selection here the number 10 horse Master of the Seas. Let's go 10-4-3 and your TriCast trifecta. 10-4-3 TriCast trifecta. Top selection 10 horse Master of the Seas. 5-year-old gun by DeBowie. Charlie Outby trains 1 for Godolphin. William Buick gets the mount. Most recently in the Zabil Mile here made on 1 mile on the 20th of January. He went by a half a length that day and basically had an easy trip. He stalked, he got lead and wasn't even pushed that day. He walked on the line. That was a very good race first start in 9 months. 9 months prior he ran at Meydan, at Newmarket, a mile and an eighth in the Group 3 Earl of Sefton, and he won by 1.5 lengths that day, and he was with them early on. He slowly moved his way up, and he got the job done. First off the bench, seasonal reappearance. It was a very good race from there. And the QE2 Cup at Ascot, 1 mile soft ground, October of 2021. He finished 7 by 6.25 lengths behind Baid that day. He didn't break that well, which cost him. He never had forwardly pace. Also, don't think he really liked the very slow ground there. And then the Joel Stakes at Newmarket, 1 mile on the 24th of September. He finished third by 1.25 lengths. Ben Battle freaked that day. This horse just kind of stalked and, wasn't catching him. But, if you look at some of his form in 2021, actually placed in the 2,000 guineas in 2021 at Newmarket behind Poetic Flair, who just, had the jump on him, but this horse was closing up well, and actually won the Craven Stakes in 2021 quite nicely. He placed in this Meydan Classic in 2021, again, behind Naval Crown, decent horse. Coming here today, I'll give him a shot on the ticket. I think the 4 horse here, who is, if my page could load, the 4 horse who is El Drama, I think he can win for Roger Varian and David Egan. Most recently in the QE2 Cup at Ascot over the mile on soft ground, he finished 5th by 3.5 lengths that day, and he just wasn't catching Bayside Boy and Modern Games, who just really ran that better race. Before that in the Joel Stakes at Newmarket over the mile, he finished 2nd by 3/4 length, and again, off the year, a little over a year of freshening, I thought he ran decently. If you look at some of his form when he was early 3-year-old. He wasn't running bad at all. He won the D Stakes at Chester over the mile and a quarter. Placed in a conditions race at Kempton before that over the mile, and had a decent race at Linkfield before that. He is stepping up boy in class here, but I think he has a good forwardly pace to win here. At 10-1 on fast ground, I'm going to give him a shot. He's my wise guy horse of the night from Maidan. So to recount my selection for the 8th from Maidan, it's the Group 1 Jebel Hatta. Let's take as a top selection here the number 10 horse Master of the Seas. We'll give kudos to the 4 horse El Drama, 10-4-3 Tricast Trifecta, 10-4 in your multi-race. The nightcap, the 9th race from Maidan now, it is the Mahab Al-Shamal Stakes. It's a Group 3 event going for a $250,000 purse, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. 10 horses are going 1,200 meters or 6 furlongs on the dirt course. I'm going to take here as a top selection the number 3 horse Isolate. Let's go 3-7-8 in your Tricast Trifecta. 3-7-8 Tricast Trifecta, top selection of 3 horse Isolate. 5-year-old horse by Mark Walensky. Doug Watson trains. Patrick Dobbs gets the mount. The horse's most recent on came 3rd of February at Maidan, 6 furlongs in the Group 3 Al Shandaga Sprint, and he finished second by 3 lengths that day. And he was with them early on. 2s who won that day really freaked, closing up on the front and quickening up nicely there. This horse first starts in the UAE. I didn't think it was a half bad race. Second off, he should be a lot fresher. He has some forwardly pace. I think he'd get the job done. Before that, in the Louisville Society Stakes at Churchill, 6 furlongs the 17th of February, 17th of September. He finished second by a nose that day, and he was with him setting the pace early on. He kind of drifted in the lane, which caused him. Miles ahead just had the jump on him, but he ran his heart out there. And then Saratoga, 7 furlongs in the tail of the cat. He won by 6, and on the front and all throughout, he really put on a show, beating some decent horses home. Second place finisher Repo Rocks has absolutely been killing it here stateside in New York in these sprint races this winter. And then before then, the worker week at Hawthorne over the 6.5, winning by 2 1/4 lengths. Again, had the forwardly pace to win there. He has a lot of pace here, which could really do wonders in this race and on this track. I'm going to give him a shot here. I think the 7 horse Sound Money is your second likely winner for Miguel Barzalona. Hasn't been seen since early July. That came at Saratoga, 7 furlongs and optional 80, where he finished second by 1 1/4 lengths. And he was just a little bit wide, which cost him there. Before then, the True North at Belmont over the 6.5. He wasn't catching Jackie's Warrior, probably ran the best race of his life that day. He finished second by 5 lengths, and he just got beat by a better horse. And then on the Slav in the Westchester at Belmont, he finished second by 5 lengths. He set the pace, but again, Cody's Wish, decent horse, beat him. He just wasn't getting him. He has some forwardly pace too, but I also think from a tracking position with the low post draw, he could really run a good race. I'm going to use him on the multi-race to end off the card. But to recount my selection for the 9th from Maidan now, it's the Group 3 Mahab Al-Samal Stakes. Let's take the 3 horse Isolate as top selection. Give kudos to the 7 horse Sound Money. 3-7-8 Tricast Trifecta, 3-7 in your multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.